Hello everyone, my name is Dhanashri Shah and in this video I am presenting my policy driven dashboard on solid and hazardous waste management that is developed using Tableau. This dashboard features year-wise plastic waste generation trends, state level waste generation, collection and treatment analysis, ward-wise waste distribution and segregation performance, and village-level coverage under solid and liquid waste management programs. This and also it compares the both process versus landfill waste that is linked to sustainability indicators. The purpose of this dashboard is to monitor waste flow from generation to disposal, evaluate policy implementation under the Indian waste generation rules, and assess the progress towards SDG 11 and SDG 12. I want to present that solid and hazardous waste management directly impacts environmental pollution, urban sustainability, public health, policy enforcement. Improper waste disposal is leads to methane emission, groundwater contamination, and disease spread. This project is linked with Swachh Bharat mission, Solid Waste Management Rule 2016, Plastic Waste Management Rules, and hazardous and other waste rules. Now I will explain the data sets that are used to build this dashboard. This is first sheet and that contains two columns. First is financial year and second is plastic waste generation in TPA, that is tons per annum. The sheet provides the year-wise plastic waste generation data. The financial year fields help us to track trends over the time, and the plastic waste generation in TPA represents how the total annual plastic waste is produced. This sheet helps us to analyze long-term trends and consumption patterns. Moving towards the next sheet, that is sheet 2, which contains state-wise solid waste data. Here it contains columns like state name or solid waste generated and collected and treated. Here it is shown in TDP, which is tons per day. Solid waste generated shows total daily waste produced in each state. Collected waste shows how much of that waste is actually collected, and treated shows how much of that waste is significantly processed. This sheet help us to evaluate collection efficiency and treatment efficiency under the Solid Waste Management Rules 2016. The next sheet is all about Pune city-wise and ward level data for waste generation. It contains columns like city name, which is Pune, zone name, ward name, number of households, waste quantity, which is again in tons per day, and number of households with waste segregation. This data set enables micro level analysis. It shows number of household that indicates population coverage. It also covers the waste quantity that shows ward level waste generation. And it also shows the number of households with waste segregation that shows segregation participation. Using this, we can identify high waste wards and segregation gaps in local level. This is a sheet 4 that contains the villages that are covered with SWM and LWM. Here are columns representing state, number of villages that are covered with SWM, number of villages that are covered with LWM, and number of villages that are covered with both SWM and LWM. Here, SWM means solid waste management, LWM means liquid waste management. This sheet measures rural implementation under Swachh Bharat mission, which is implemented in Gramin area. It helps us to evaluate coverage expansion. This is a last sheet that contains sustainability indicators. Here are columns like here indicator code, then indicator name, its value, and processing type, whether it is recycled or processed. Then this sheet helps us to track the SDG linked indicator and measures the processing efficiency over time. This is the actual dashboard that I have created. Here, the first is waste generation per year. Here, as you can see, the chart shows the plastic waste generation over the financial years. We observe the steady increase in waste generation. This reflects rising consumption and urbanization. It indicates the increasing pressure on waste infrastructure and importance of plastic waste management rules. The second sheet shows state-wise data for solid waste generated, collected and treated across the India. At the top of the chart, we can see the name of different states and union territories. On the vertical axis, the value ranges from 0 to 10k, representing waste quantity in tons per day. Each parameter is represented using colored circle for easy comparison. Here, as you can see, yellow circle indicates the solid waste generated, blue circle indicates the solid waste collected, and red circle indicates the solid waste treated. If you take example of Haryana, you can see the total waste generated is 5,352 TPD. The total waste collected, which is 5,291 TPD, but the processed waste is only 3,124 TPD, which shows although the collection efficiency is high, the treatment rate is comparatively lower, highlighting the gap between collection of scientific processing and under the solid waste management rules 2016. Before moving the third sheet, let me expand it. As you can see, the third sheet represents the ward-wise waste collection data for Pune city using a treemap visualization. Here, each rectangle in treemap represents a ward, and the size of rectangles corresponds to the waste quantity generated in TPD. The chart is colored using blue gradient scale ranging from 18.46 to 95.06, where lighter blue indicates the lower waste generation and the darker blue represents the higher waste generation. This color scaling helps us visually identify high waste and low waste wards instantly. For example, ward shown in darker shades represents a more waste compared to lighter shaded wards. This visualization helps us to identify urban hotspots, planning decentralization waste management system, and improve segregation performance at the ward level under the urban waste management policies. Back to the dashboard, let us see the next sheet. As you can see, the chart is titled Village Level Waste Management Coverage by State or Union Territory. It is a horizontal bar chart that shows how many villages are covered under waste management programs in each state. On the left side, we have names of states or union territories. These are placed on the row shelf so we can compare each state clearly. On the top, three measures are placed: villages covered in SWM, villages covered in LWM, and villages covered in both SWM and LWM. They are shown separately so we can easily compare solid waste, liquid waste, and combined coverage. The scale is shown in thousands on the horizontal axis. The color changes from light yellow to dark red. Light color means fewer villages covered, and the darker colors means the more villages covered. The legend on the right shows the full range of values, that is from 0 to 17,809. From this chart, we can see that some states like Madhya Pradesh and Odisha have higher village coverage, while some states have lower village coverage. This shows the rural waste management is improving, but it is not equal all the states. Back to the dashboard. Next is recycled versus landfill waste. It is a stack bar chart that compares recycled waste and landfill waste over different years. It is a horizontal axis on which we have year from 2017 to 2021. On the vertical axis, we have value, which is represented in the proportion of total waste. Each bar is divided into two columns. The red proportion represents the recycled waste and orange proportion represents the landfill waste. Since it is a stack bar chart, both sections together make the total waste for that year. From the chart, we can see the recycled portion is higher than the landfill portion in all years. This shows that the larger share of waste is being processed instead of sent to the landfills. However, landfills are still in continuous, which means the further improvement are needed to strengthen the recycling systems and reduce the environmental impact. Overall, this dashboard provides the clear view of waste generation, collection, treatment, and recycling performance across the different states and cities, which helps to identify gap in implementation. It also supports for better policy monitoring and promotes the sustainable waste management, which is aligned with the national regulations and SDG goals. That's my dashboard.